I never believed that cities held secrets, but that distant night proved otherwise. I was walking alone on a narrow street, bordered on one side by the sea and on the other by rows of gray buildings, when I first noticed that lit window on the third floor of the abandoned building. I do not know why my feet froze. I had just returned from work, carrying grocery bags, thinking about tomorrow, not ghosts. But the light flickering behind the torn curtain seemed like a call unlike anything I had ever heard. Then I heard a voice, a faint whisper, as if it came from inside the window itself. Come. I dropped the bag, spilling fruit onto the pavement, but I didn't notice. All I noticed was that someone, or something, was calling me. I stood still and did not run. I did not know that this moment would be the first step in a chain of events that would change my life forever. I could not ignore the call. The next night, I found myself returning to the same place without deciding to. My feet walked on their own, as if they knew the way better than I did. The building was silent, yet it did not feel empty. The air around it was heavier, as if carrying an old memory waiting for someone to awaken it. When I raised my head, I saw the window glowing again. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step creaking as it stirred the sleeping dust. Then I reached the wooden door at the end of the corridor, half open, as if someone expected me to approach without fear. I pushed it and found the room empty, except for the wall opposite it, which bore a strange carving, a spiral etched unnaturally, as if it were swallowing itself. Its shape felt familiar, frighteningly so, because I had seen it in an old dream. I reached out and touched the carving, and the wall trembled, alive, breathing. Then I heard the whisper again, clearer than ever. You're late, Reem. That night did not end there. I returned home, burdened with questions I could not bear. Who was calling me? Who knew my name? And why me? Worse, the voice began to follow me everywhere. In the street, in my room, even in my dreams. And one strange day, I found a note under my door. A paper with no name, no signature, written, "If you want the truth, return." I returned, as if my choices no longer belonged to me. This time, the room was not empty. The light flowed from the carving on the wall, pulsing as if it recognized me. As I approached, I heard steps behind me. I turned, and there he was, the man whose presence I had not sensed entering. Tall, pale, his eyes an unnatural color. He spoke calmly. "This is not our first meeting, Reem." He spoke as one who had known me for ages. Then he added, "The spiral is a gateway, and the city you live in is not what you think it is. You, you are not what you think you are." I shivered. He stepped closer and said, "You were one of us. Then you ran. Today, it is time for you to return." When I touched the light, I no longer saw anything. Not the man, not the room, not the city. I was crossing, feeling something vast waiting for me. And when I found myself in the new place, the ground was unfamiliar. The world looked like my city from afar, yet it was not my city. The sky was heavier, the air different, and people moved with steps that did not touch the ground. I did not see the man, but he appeared suddenly in front of a black gate. He said, "This is your first home, the home you left when you chose to live among humans. You are half human and half of us." He led me to a circular room with a massive mirror that moved subtly. I looked into it and saw a little girl. It was me. She said, "You did not return alone, Weem." And everything began to unfold. In the past, when the gateway opened, I was the only bridge between the worlds. To protect me, my mother split my soul in half, one half living among humans, the other here. And now, as the worlds began to intertwine, I could no longer remain divided. The girl said, "If we unite, both worlds will survive. If you retreat, both will fall." I reached out and for the first time held myself together. And when we united, a circle of light exploded around me and I felt a completeness I had never known. I appeared again in the palace, the man watching me with astonishment. "You are whole now." But the wall began to shake. The spiral expanded, beginning to swallow both worlds. I realized immediately what I had to do. I stood before the spiral, feeling a power surge through me that I had never known. I reached out and closed it. It resisted, screamed, but eventually yielded. It shrank until it disappeared. And when it was all over, the man said softly, "You have saved both worlds, but the price is high. The world you came from will not remember you. The bridge has closed." I looked out the window. I saw my city as I knew it, but distant. I could not return. Yet I felt no sorrow. I said, "Perhaps I lost my world, but I found myself." And with the first light of dawn, I left the palace, walking towards a new world, a world that I had belonged to from the beginning. I was no longer the Reem who feared. I was the Reem who returned whole. And so ended the journey that began with a faint call from an abandoned window, passed through mystery, secrets of the walls, the little girl who was me, and the bridge between two worlds, and the power I never knew I had. Now, as I tell this story, I know I am no longer merely a witness to my life, but the story itself, a story I experienced, lived, and which shook me entirely, opening the doors to the world I had sought since the beginning, a world that is now part of me, and I am part of it.